Seeing beyond. Living transformed is a spiritual crossing of the threshold to the world of being a truly expanded human being. Join mediums Cheryl and Kelly for conversations about discovering deep spirituality, developing your intuitive and empathic skills, and personal mediumship. Each episode will focus on tips, tools, and techniques to help you understand and expand your own inner gifts and life journey. You can call in each week to receive spiritual guidance, personal readings, and we'll answer your questions. We'll talk with luminary experts on meditations, the afterlife, energy healing, past lives, and much more. Join our Seeing Beyond spiritual community to learn more about expanding your mind, body, and soul, and have fun on your journey to empowered transformation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to today's show, Seeing Beyond Living Transformed. We're so happy that you're with us today. And as you're coming on live, we would love it if you would like our pages, follow us, subscribe. We have such a lovely show happening tonight. And I do have a lovely co-host I want to say hello to. Hi, Jeffrey. How are you today?
Hi, darling. I'm so happy to be hanging out with you again.
Oh, it's always so much fun. And everyone knows you, Jeffrey. You're logging on, and I can't believe if anyone hasn't met Jeffrey before, please let us know in the comments section. But Jeffrey Peck, a lovely spiritual medium in his own right. He has his own podcast that we'll be talking more about. It's called Something Super Spiritual, and I believe it was on right before our show. Is that right,
Yeah.
Jeffrey?
Brianna and I just finished at 5, a little after 5. We're like, okay, time to grab a quick bite. Get back in the seat.
So, hey guys, thank you, everyone. And really, thanks for joining our show. And it couldn't be more of a suitable topic for this evening and for really the month of spring as we're, coming into the beautiful warmer weather to talk about healing and practicing self-care. The title of our show tonight is called The Healer's Path. And I'm hoping that Jeffrey and I can share some stories with you, maybe some tools, techniques, reminders, gentle reminders that we do to practice and nurture ourselves, right? Because we all are doing energy work these days, whether you're a professional or you do this privately, your own intuitive work, we still need all to practice self-care, and how important it is more now than ever. Would you agree, Jeffrey?
Oh, completely. With the energy is going on right now on this planet. There's so much going on, and we know what is within is without. So we're experiencing all of this, and we're all here right now for a reason, and we're all here experiencing this as part of our plan, part of our contract. And so it's up to us to be cognizant enough and aware enough and understanding that we have to be proactive and take part in our role. What is our role? And for most of us here, even all of you who are here watching and listening, whether now or in the future, you're on your own spiritual path. You wouldn't be here watching and listening to us if you weren't. And when we recognize our role, and just the part that is where we recognize our own accountability and responsibility with regard to our own, how we act and how we show up in the world, our words, our thoughts. Maybe it's just as simple as that, and that's okay. But we do have a role to play, and as healers, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to put that oxygen mask on first, because if we don't, how do we show up when we don't? And trust me, I've shown up many times without that oxygen mask.
Well, let's take a moment here and just, Jeffrey, if you would please, let's say hello to some people who are logging on right now and let everyone know we'll be doing readings the second half hour of the show, or the second part. So please just keep your questions until we're ready to ask you to start writing them in. But let's say hello to some people. I see we have Bora Bora 333. Hi there. And we have Glorious E here. Hello. And how about you, Jeffrey?
Give him wings, Glorious E. Hi, guys. John Mullen, Bernadette's here. Hi, Ness. Sue Brassel's in the room. Anna Banana.
Hi, Jose. Right. Thank you guys for logging on and being with us tonight. And we have such a great show. And once again, if you're meeting Jeffrey Peck for the first time, he has a lovely website, Jeffrey. And why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself for people who are meeting you for the first time? I can't imagine there are many, though. I know you're very well
Oh,
known on YouTube right now, and you have such a great podcast. So just
oh,
share
thank
with us a little
you.
bit. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, my website, you guys, if you would like to join my email list, please check that out, jeffreypeck.com. I've been, I woke up to my own spiritual divinity in 2006. My mother had been sick for decades with fibromyalgia and degenerative disc disease and osteo something else, and was always in pain. And it just, no matter what the doctors did, treatments, pills, pain pills, whatever, it just wasn't working. And as synchronicity would have it, spirit was doing its work with me before I really understood what was happening. But on Labor Day 2006, a girlfriend of mine called me up at the very last minute, said, "Hey, let's go to the spa. Be there in 30 minutes." And I was like, "What? Okay." So we show up to this spa in Scottsdale for a last minute massage. And we get up to the counter and the lady says, "Would you like a man or a woman?" And she says, "Oh, never mind. You're last minute. So I guess it's just going to be whatever." And I said, "Yeah, whatever. I don't care. I'll take wherever I'm supposed to be." And the lady that was doing my massage, within 15 minutes, she says, "I think I'm supposed to do Reiki with you." And I said, "What's that?" And she's telling me, I had her spell it 3 times. She starts doing it. I felt the energy. I felt the tingles. I felt the weirdness. I'm like, what is going on here? So she explained it to me, and she explained how it heals on all levels: spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. And I was like, oh, and she said, anybody can do this, And I thought, you know what? I'm going to try this for mom. What do we have to lose? So I left the spa that day. I went to the Google machine. I found myself a Reiki master a mile away from me. And that's how it started. And in that first weekend, the side effect for me was the ignition of all the spiritual senses all at once. And boom, my life changed in a flash.
Mm-hmm. And so you've been taking on Reiki. So you're not only a Reiki teacher, I believe, but also now a medium, a psychic and intuitive.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's interesting to me is, I went into it with the intent. Well, first of all, I didn't know that any of this was any of this. Of course, I'd been to psychics. I've been to psychic fairs, and it was fun and exciting, but I never, ever in my world, no. But when I was doing Reiki treatments for people back then, all of a sudden I could sense that there were other people in the room. And it just started, that's how it started for me. And then they were so in the room and so in my face, I had to start talking about it. And I'm like, listen, I know this sounds really woo-woo, but I think that there are other people from the beyond who are in the room. Do you mind if I talk? And then I started talking. And I was delivering all this evidential mediumship before I even knew what that was. Mm-hmm. So spirit was working through me, and that's how it took off. And that's how it took me 5 years, though. I did not buy the fact that I was a medium for at least 5 years. Mm-hmm. I told people, I said, I must be a good guesser. I'm not a medium. Yeah. But it's just then the mediumship was, that spirit was like, this is the direction you're going. You're going to continue with the Reiki, but it's going to look a little bit different. But yeah, now it's here, and with my retreats in Sedona and teaching and talking, and yeah.
So for those aspiring mediums that are listening to our show now and would like to know, could you give them a pointer or two on, is it what made you step into learning you had the ability? Was it trusting, or
oh my gosh,
what
absolute trust
moved that needle for you to say, oh my gosh, I'm a medium?
Trust. Yes. And Tracy McGinley, yes, she says, did it only start happening after Reiki? For me, yes. Yeah, that after that first weekend, it all came on board. And I was scared because I had never been to a medium. but I loved the show Medium with Patricia Arquette, and I loved James Van Praagh and John Edward, and I mean all of those people. I was fascinated with all of that and the paranormal. So I already had this this bubbling passion on my insides. That was my first clue. Of course, looking back, hindsight's 2020. But I didn't think much of it specifically with regard to myself. But yeah, trust. It got so, like, the room got so full, you know, like when the tub gets so full of water, you realize you have to pull the plug so we don't have a mess. And that's how it felt. I mean, I didn't feel like I was going to have a mess, but I felt like I had to speak. They're like, I had no other option, but I had to speak. And then I was just like, okay. And then I just started talking. And when everybody was validating all this information that I obviously should not know, I was like, this is really weird. This is really weird. And then when I started moving forward with it, then yes, the trust really had to land really deeply on my insides.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I know that for people, their gifts or their abilities, their mediumship abilities open up differently. For me, I grew up, it was natural in my home to be psychic and to be a medium. So for me, growing up is natural, but for you, it happened after Reiki, and it happens for different people in different ways. I think, and it happens at the right time though in life. It happens.
Absolutely.
It happens when you wonder why it hasn't happened to you yet. If you could just turn the tables and realize it's happening for you in this very moment, just asking that question.
100%. That's it. That's totally it. Yeah. Yeah. For those of you watching, listening, we've heard the stories about the people who have endured an NDE. They literally died and came back with this experience, with the spiritual senses all online. Or the people who have lost loved ones in such a traumatic flash of light, that just gone. People are waking up to this truth within themselves, that they are this divine being, this divine limitless soul. First and foremost, we are all that. So every single one of us have the capability of this connection. We can't help it. It's just part of who we are.
Because we are spiritual beings having the human experience, right?
That's it. Yeah. And for those of sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to say, for those of you who are asking that question, just know by asking that question, you don't have to go through an NDE. You don't have to go through the pain of trauma of losing a loved one. You don't have to go through the pain of maybe a terminal illness and coming out of it, or a car accident that is like beyond traumatic, that takes a year to come out of. Just by asking that question. I love that you said that, Cheryl. That is so true.
And look, that's tonight's topic. Is we're talking about the healer's path, everyone. And we'd love to know, really our question tonight is how do you practice self-care? Because we're all light workers. We're all giving a lot, right? We're giving and giving. How do you take care of yourself, and how important it is for our spiritual health, mental, physical, right? Mental, physical, spiritual health, for us to practice self-care and to nurture ourselves and to remind each other that this is a work in some way. I mean, it is our vocation. Jeffrey, I know Jeffrey's being called to do this work, myself included, Kelly, Brianna, and at the same time, we also need to balance that with, rest, eating, staying grounded, many techniques. So we'd love to hear from you, our audience members. How do you practice self-care? And Jeffrey, can I start with you and ask you, how do you take care of yourself when you're doing this type of work?
It's so important. Oh my gosh, it is so important. You were talking about the balance of that self-care and taking care of the physical body. We are here in this physical body. And we have, it's like we've been conditioned and or programmed to accept a truth that high level stress and anxiety is normal and okay.
Oh.
And it's not. Our bodies are our number one spiritual tool. We can tell in our body when we're getting a spiritual hit. We can tell in our body when the energy shifts in the room. We can tell in our body when we're not feeling good. Our body is going beep, 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 you know? But we've been conditioned to believe that this high level stress that all of us live in is normal and okay, and it's not. And so whether you are in the healing profession or not, remembering that we are still accountable to keeping ourselves in balance and in that healthful status quo, right? And how do we do that? You know, we get out in nature. We go for a walk. We go for a hike. We get with the dog. We roll around on the rug with the dog and forget about all of this for a moment, if even for a moment, right? We get in a salt bath with aromatics, with essential oils, light a candle, take 3 deep breaths. Boom, that brings us right back to center. There are so many little things that we can all do. I love this conversation.
Yeah. And, you know, Jeffrey, I go looking for ways to continue to practice my self-care. It's not all in one is done. I mean, I'm always trying new things. I'll try essential oils in the room, or I'll, you know, have a fragrance. I'll try different lighting during my meditation. You know, I'll try different candles. I'll meditate outside for a change, right? I'm always trying to change it up to see where is that sweet spot, so to speak. Where am I getting restored? Where am I getting rejuvenated? Where am I getting the breath and the oxygen to kind of help me rest a little bit deeper, or surrender a little bit deeper, just in my own body, mind, and soul. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And it's fun. You know, it's fun to go out and try new things. You know, our guides and our guardians, they're always with us. They're always trying to get our attention, especially in those times when, you know, we need to slow down and meditate for a moment. Or if it's difficult for us, any of us, to sit here and with our legs crossed and, you know, and you know, a walking meditation is just fine. So, you know, really get out for 15 minutes and start to, you'll have these little ideas. I'm practicing self-care in Mexico with your husband. Yes, you are, Kelly.
Kelly, way to go, and way to teach us all that, you know, our spouses are and our families are just so important, right?
Totally.
So important that they keep us grounded, and good for you to take that R&R break.
Oh, I want to go do some self-healing in Mexico.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, if I just when I thought about tonight's show, Jeffrey, I thought about what's really helped me and practicing self-care is really understanding about my own energy field. And that would come along with practicing boundaries. And it's not about being rude to someone by saying no. It's about understanding your own energy and how much it feels to be overflowing in that giving energy, and knowing when your cup is running low, so to speak. And that's when you need to kind of step back, or even step back before you begin to, you know, start becoming tired or drained. You know, so saying thank you or no thank you with love and compassion, nothing wrong with that. If anything, you're teaching the other person also how to manage their own energy as well.
Yeah, that's huge. That is huge. You know what? Can I tell a little story? Because this is when I learned that, like, firsthand, and it was getting bad. So between 2010 and the end of 2018, so almost 10 years, it was just over 9. I managed an older couple, managed their lives, everything in their lives, every hat I could wear, I wore for them. And they were older, retired. We lived in California and in Arizona in different seasons, went back and forth. And About after 4 years, they started getting sick.
Mm.
As then I turned in a caregiver, along with all that other stuff. And I learned what it really meant to be a caregiver. And it's kind of my love language. It's how I roll. So it doesn't affect me so much. It's just part of my makeup. It's part of my wiring. However, I was not paying attention to myself. And I was literally on their call for 24 hours a day, every day for years.
Mm-hmm.
He died a couple years later. She kept going. It kept getting worse. In the meantime, over those years, my health was declining. I was so puffy with, what is that stress hormone that makes you puffy? Is it when you get stressed, your body makes, is it cortisol? No,
Cortisol. Yeah. Cortisol.
maybe. So and when you get overloaded with it, you get puffy. And
Oh.
and I was puffy, and I was like a little like discolored. I was peaked. My personality disappeared, and my family, my friends, everybody's worried about me. They were really worried about me. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Until I wasn't fine. And it's in that moment where I discovered that as caregivers, as healers, there is something very real called empathy fatigue, compassion fatigue. That's very real, and there's nothing shameful about it. We can give ourselves so far, so much, so deeply, and completely forget ourselves. Talk about drained. I mean, my tub was drained. Cheryl, my tub was drained. And that's where I learned that self-care, regardless of where we are or what we're doing, there's equal states of that empathy fatigue. If we're in business, maybe we're an attorney, maybe we're, just a really busy salesperson. But we have to remember that.
Maybe we're in a relationship too, right? Relationships where it's not a fair exchange of energy or an even exchange of energy, right? Where
Totally.
one person's doing all the giving and they keep thinking if they give more, right? But that can also happen in relationships. Really?
Yeah.
So,
There.
it can really happen with, I guess, anything we get, hyper focused on, or once again, not, it's hard to tell when you're in it, that I guess is another thing. It's hard to tell when you're in the fatigue, as you mentioned.
It is.
It's like, oh no, I can keep going.
Yeah.
I'm tired, but I can keep going. And it's not till maybe you get out of it that you go, wow, what was that?
Oh, yeah. It was when I got out of it and I was like, holy cow, what just happened? Where was I? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know I was working in a stressful job at one time, and it wasn't until I got out of it that I realized I must have been carrying like 10 pounds of stress just on my shoulders alone, and you just feel it all on your shoulders and your neck. And it wasn't really until I started dancing and grounding that I felt it just drop off like weights, like just 5-pound weights, just shed it. And I really recommend dancing, by the way, for anyone who's feeling fatigued or needing self-care. It's part of the grounding process to get back in the body, get back in, and realize that, yeah, you're right, Jeffrey, our bodies are talking to us. If we're feeling aches and pains or tiredness or grouchiness even, we've got to do a self-check-in. We got to check in with ourselves. Hey, are you okay? Are you taking care of yourself? Where's your mind? Where are you?
And be truthful.
Yeah.
Be truthful about it.
Oh boy.
Because in those years, I thought I was checking with myself, but no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I got to keep going. I'm fine. Yeah. Be truthful. Yeah. In those check-ins for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's just see what this person has to say. Hi, Fogo Pogo. I'm so bad at self-care. I can take it as a challenge sometimes to see how far I can go before my body or mind taps out. Trying to fix it, but at this point, it's a bad habit. Well, cheers to you for being honest. Thank you so much, Fogo Pogo, because how many of us could agree with that? You got to keep going, right? You got to kind of tell yourself, you just got to keep going. Thank you. And yeah, it does get to a point I almost feel where it becomes autopilot. That level of stress, you get used to it thinking that it's the norm, but it's not.
Yeah, and that's just it. It becomes the norm. So then you push yourself a little bit further and a little bit further,
Yeah.
because that new normal, we get to a mindset. Again, I think it's like I said earlier, that we're conditioned that working this hard, moving this hard, for letting go of ourselves that much is normal, and it's okay.
Mhm.
But it can't last. It doesn't last.
It can't last, and it can really either really stop you in your tracks. I always feel like the universe will, if once again, right, the whisper, the knocking on the door, and then knocks the door down, right? You've got to really pay attention at those times. If spirit's telling you to slow down, you want to listen to that. That's just as important as giving a message to someone else, right? Because you could be the medium or the psychic giving that same message to someone else, but would we take our own advice when our own guides are talking to us?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's huge. I love this. I love this topic so much, because I get it. I can relate so deeply with it.
Mhm.
It's important.
So everyone, once again, the name of our show tonight is called The Healer's Path, and it really is the healer's journey, and it's learning about understanding that the better and healthier you are as the healer, the more we can give, right? The more we feel like our cup is full or overflowing, the more maybe we can offer our services or offer those readings, or the more we can uh, let the light in, so to speak, right? We're holding space to allow the light to come in, you know? So yeah, I like that.
Mhm.
So what are some other ways to practice self-care, or to how do I just want to tell you, I remember, Jeffrey, just you before the show started tonight, you were saying you had a knee situation that you recovered from. And how did you practice self-care? Right? You had to
Oh,
practice self that time
well,
because back to work.
what you said earlier, the whisper, the knock, the
Yeah.
door comes down, and then sometimes a hurricane wind has to blow and take the whole house down to get your attention. Don't let it get to there, because that will happen. That will happen if we more often than not, and I truly do believe this. The messages, we're getting them. We're getting the messages, and after whatever event happens, you're like, we're all like, oh, I was afraid this was going to happen. Hindsight always 2020, but to really pay attention to those whispers. Yeah, in November, I've been a runner for a long time, and I love to ski. And for the last, I don't know, maybe 6 months leading up to November, I was just feeling an ache in my knee, just an ache. And I thought, I need to strengthen it. I haven't been able to run very much. I wasn't doing a lot. So I thought I needed to do more. Well, I was walking out of a restaurant. It was dark. I stepped off a curb. The
Ah,
curb was taller than I expected.
uh-oh.
And so, like, when you're stepping off a step that you don't know is there, my left leg hit the pavement and I heard a pop.
Oof.
So self-care was really, I had no choice but
Oh,
to self-care. And that's like on the couch going nowhere fast. So we don't want to get to that place. We don't, ugh. But it's better now. Surgery happened in March and I can climb stairs.
I'm telling you, you are stronger than ever. And you needed that upgrade too. I mean, it's probably like it gave you time to kind of reset, or to, think about some things and bring more awareness to you in some way, and some
Yeah.
downloads even.
Oh my gosh. Can I tell you another little story?
Okay.
So during this period, while I'm down on my knee, and it was before I had surgery, I woke up one day in February and I lost all my hearing in my left ear. It was gone. I had never heard of that. I don't know anybody that's ever happened to. And after about 4 days, it took me about 4 days of almost panicking, But it took me about 4 days to get to a place of acceptance. And I went to the ER, doctors were doing their thing. So I just thought, okay, it's in their hands. I'm doing what they told me to do. It's time for me just to surrender and move on. My hearing came back. It took about 4 weeks, but in that good 3 weeks where I literally could not hear anything, I started to hear literal like concerts of like forest sounds, frogs, birds, crickets. I could hear tones of the xylophone and really like, and it was not it wasn't chaotic. It wasn't like this was all happening, but I could make music it was that beautiful. And I would lie there, whatever. I would lie there and I just listened. I'd listen for a couple hours. I would just sit there and listen to it. And then downloads, like you said, these downloads started coming in. And I have all this new coursework that I'm putting together, and I'm recording meditations one after another. And so it took Spirit taking away my hearing for me to hear much more clearly, much more like what I needed to hear in this moment while I was down on the couch dealing with my knee.
Listening
Isn't that
to
bizarre?
other words. Yeah, I love it. That's a beautiful story. Hey, and look, I know we have so many people joining us tonight. We have so many lovely people. We want to, if it's okay with you, Jeffrey, can we start with some readings now? I see people already writing some questions. Would that be all right?
Yeah, go ahead. I love this part.
Okay, let's start then. So guys, we're going to be, if you'd like to submit a question, Jeffrey and I will be doing readings and tuning into you. So I see a couple of them already, and Brianna, our amazing co-host backstage, is helping us highlight some of them. So look, let me just read one of these questions let me see where I'm being drawn to. Let's see. Hello, Katie Ward. Who is around me who is waking me up at night and messing with my feet? Well, Katie, I hope I hope it's a good feeling. Just to tell you, I hope it's a good thing that it's happening. I hope that you're not afraid of the dark, or so to speak, or it's not fear. And if it is, that's okay. But the first thing that I did feel a guide with you, connecting with you. And I feel like in some way you've been asking for it. It felt like a very celestial guide, right? So it's almost like a star path or a star being. I don't know if that resonates with you, Katie, or not. Please let us know in the comments section. I'm going to ask Jeffrey if he'd like to tune in with that. Who are you feeling that's with her in the evening?
Absolutely. That's the first thing I felt too. I felt a guide really trying to get her attention. I feel like Katie is going through her own expansion. She's going through her own spiritual, I guess, awakening. I mean, I feel like you're already on your spiritual path, but it feels to me like you're leveling up. Mm-hmm. And I also feel like when you were reading the question, Cheryl, I was seeing this playful cat in spirit playing around around her toes. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised with that either. I mean, because our pets love to be with us just as much as the rest of them.
I love that. I love that answer, Jeffrey. Thank you. And Katie, we'll just wait to hear from you for validation or if this resonates with you, but please take that for what it is. I mean, it is about having gratitude and really asking questions. See if you can't ask questions before you go to sleep or even during the day, and maybe you'll get the answers or insights through your meditations. So maybe Jeffrey is right about there's something opening up for you, Katie. So take that to heart. All right. Thank you for your question. And Jeffrey, if you're drawn to someone, please let us know.
You know what? This one I saw. Oh, Julia Medina. Who are my angels? She says, Julia.
Hi.
So, Julia, thank you for being here with us. Julia, your angels have been trying to get your attention. It's why you asked the question. However, For me, I won't tell people their guides' names, their guardian angels' names. That is such a sacred relationship. And and I want you to have that experience of you asking them and getting the answer. It's so precious. It's so sacred. I did a little meditation 20 years ago, where I was lying in bed, and my intention, I invited my guardians in, and I said, "Hey, I'm glad you're here. Will you please, do whatever it takes to tell me your name?" I could start to sense things in my mind's eye. And because I'm silly, I'm silly in things that I do, and they reflect our personalities. And I could see them running back and forth at the end of my bed, trying to get my attention in a really silly way. Made me laugh. The laughter raises the vibe, and I closed my eyes, and I was like, "Okay, I'm ready when you're ready." And all of a sudden, I heard the names Elijah, Josiah, and Gabriel, boom, in my head. And I thought, "Oh my gosh, did I make all that up? I made that up. I know I made it up. Okay, tell me again. Tell me again." I didn't get it again. And it's kind of like their way of saying, "You asked, we delivered." So what did I do then? I asked them for evidence. Okay, great, cool. Show me some evidence that I got it right. Then what they do with us is they start to work with synchronicities in our path. Suddenly I was behind a car one day, and the license plate, it says Josiah. It hit me so deeply, that synchronicity. I was like, "Oh my gosh, do I need, what more of a message do I need?" And then maybe a week later, some friends wanted to go to happy hour at this place I'd never been to. And so here we are, bellied up to the bar, where this wall of booze is in front of me. And I typically don't drink hard liquor. I like wine. And so I just have, when you're sitting somewhere and you just kind of softly gaze and you start to stare in one direction. I started staring at this wall of booze, and all of a sudden I happened to catch myself. I'm looking at a bottle of scotch called Elijah. And I was like, "What?" So that's what I want. That's what I want you to experience, Julia. I want you all to have those kind of experiences, because those synchronicities, Spirit is always working with us and trying to get our attention, and we can ask them for evidence. Work with me, show me. And they have such a great time with us. And to have that experience for yourself is really magical.
Thank you, Julia. That was lovely, Jeffrey. And just to bring back Katie Ward's comment, where she asked about guides and listen to that about the cats, right? "Oh my God, my son says there's a cat that's not living here. I have 2 cats, but we see the other cat sometimes." How about that?
Well,
So
there
Katie,
you go.
I mean, that is a sign, Katie. So please take it as that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. Let me get to the next question. I saw Carrie answer this question. I was so drawn to it. "I am going through a spiritual awakening and tips for a beginner. Thank you for your time." I'm going to put in my couple of tips, and then Jeffrey, I'd like to ask you. But Carrie, look, 2 things that I have learned about spiritual awakenings is it can be very difficult. It's not easy sometimes, and your life is changing and the ground around you is changing. But I have learned to hold the light for myself, so to speak. So if you can hold the light for yourself, meaning be kind with your thoughts, be kind to yourself, just get through the day, say a prayer of gratitude, slow down, just get through the day, know that your life is changing. Spirit would want you to know that your life is working for you, right? Your life is happening for you, not to you. And allow that preciousness to unfold the way it's supposed to in divine time. Now, Jeffrey, would you want to add to that, please?
Yeah. That I love how you brought up the slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
It's so true. We are in a society where, we get things quickly. I mean, we can get an answer online for literally anything in a flash. We can order things on Amazon now, and it's here the next morning, sometimes the same day, depending where we live. We are in this instant gratification society. However, when spiritual awakenings can happen, a lot of times things are taken from us, and they're taken from us for us. The universe will remove that which is no longer serving us, specifically when we are waking up to the truth in who we are. Relationships can be suddenly shifted, and what used to be a really beautiful thing suddenly is not in alignment and a balance anymore. It's just not. And it could be an intimate relationship. It could be friendships. I experienced it with both, all at the same time. So be gentle with yourself. I really want to encourage you to move forward without expectation and demand, meaning you've listened to a lot of people like myself and Cheryl and Kelly and, talk about our experiences. We all go through something a little bit different. It looks a little bit different for all of us. At the end of the day, it's pretty much the same thing, but it all looks a little bit different. And I really want to express that, because we can really get caught up on it not looking like anybody else, so it must be not the same thing, or I'm not spiritually enlightened, or maybe I'm just making it all up, and so really to slow down, like you said, Cheryl, and just give yourself some grace. Spirit is not on a time frame like we are, and just breathe through it, and just ask your guides and your guardians to help you through this with grace and ease.
Mm-hmm. And also, Carrie, I know you have intuitive abilities, and I just feel that they're opening up for you right now. So just allow whatever happens, to allow it with, ease and grace, as Jeffrey said. Just allow each day to open up and unfold. And your job is to, once again, practice self-care, practice grounding. All right. You are that healer that we're talking about. So practice that. All right.
You are. You absolutely are. Totally.
Thank you. And then Jeffrey, I think we have time for a couple more here. Let's keep going if it's all right. Yep. If you see one, please let us know.
Okay. Well, I just happened to be looking at Marie Beck. So let's go with Marie. Hi, Marie.
Hi, Marie.
Hi, Marie. Thank you for being here. Do you feel success soon? Much love to you both. Well, and love back. Do you feel any special talents? Do you mind if I talk?
Oh, please go for it, Jeffrey.
Okay. So Marie, I can feel your heart from here. So I know your heart. Your heart is beautiful. Your heart is loving. Your heart has been hurt. And it's through this wounding and these experiences, we've been talking about healers tonight, and you guys have been talking about healers this month. Mm-hmm. The wounded healer is a very real archetype, very well alive in well, I was going to say all of us. It has a potential to be alive in all of us, but alive for, I'd say, most of us here. The wounded healer recognizes that pain because they've been through it. And when we are on this path and we get to that place where we have that calling where we want to help people however we can, how can I serve, right? That's where it is for you, Marie. You are a healer from the very core. I can see through your throat chakra too, that you have a way with words. You have a way of communicating and expressing to people. You have a way of really getting people to feel heard and seen in ways that they might not at home. So yeah, do I feel talents? Yes, darling. You are that. And it might not have been conscious so much. You might have been recognizing that people like to sit next to you and tell you their whole life story so easily. but that's because you are who you are. You have this sense about you where people they feel good in your presence, right? They feel this love and this connection. So, yeah, I want to encourage looking more into those healing modalities. Just for your own expansion. Like I was going to say Reiki. Reiki was the first thing I was going to say, but I, being the Reiki practitioner and Reiki teacher that I am, I think the whole world should become attuned to Reiki because of what it's done for me. But I want to encourage you to just pay attention to what comes through your feed. Anything that kind of pings you on the inside, pay attention to that and follow it, because it's through all of those little steps that you start to open and open and open a little bit more. And you'll have more information through all of that where you'll know exactly the direction you're going. But I just wanted to reflect all of that within you that I can sense and see right back at you, because you're beautiful.
And Marie, Jeffrey is so in tune with your energy, because I also felt communication to be a special talent for you. Whether you're writing, you're expressing through writing, or holding counsel is also what I felt for you. Being with people, expressing your story, sharing, teaching, right? It is about that throat chakra. And you could wear the color of blue. You could look into the throat chakra and look how important it is to the other clairs, like clairaudience, clairvoyance. I mean, this throat chakra is very, very important, very strong. And once again, is it's opening up right now in this time in our collective consciousness, for example. So knowing when to speak up, or speaking the truth, speaking up for someone else, right? Look into that. But I do feel that special talent also with you, Marie, of clairvoyance, right? Because my guides are just saying, believe what you are seeing, right? Believe what you are seeing. So you must be having some beautiful visions right now. So I'm going to leave that with you. Thank you, Marie. And we
Thanks,
have
Marie.
time. Yeah, with that lovely. Can I pick one? Let's see. But I want you to look into this one. Since you said hi to Anna Banana, I wanted to grab this question because it's a question that maybe people need to know about. Like, this is a great thing. Like, she's seeing signs. We want to know, is it a sign? Is it a good sign? So can you jump in here, Jeffrey? Anna's asking, is seeing a group of crows or ravens a good sign?
Well, just by the way you asked the question, I'm going to say yes. Because you noticed it. You noticed it. It caught your attention. It caught your attention. It brought you right to spirit, and it gave you pause to go, huh, could that have been you, spirit? Is that you? Are you there? If anything out there like that gives you pause to go, huh, spirit, is that you? Yes. Yeah. And I am telling you, ravens and crows are at the top. Look, I have a little crystal raven.
Look at you. Look
here.
At you.
And I have a little baby crow that was given to me by one of my attendees in Sedona. So yeah, ravens and crows are huge for me. The magic and the medicine about the raven and the crow are their mystical qualities. They are messengers from beyond. They are messengers within that. I'm gonna say darkness, but I don't mean it in the negative term. It's in that unseen where we can't see, right? There is that magic, and I love those questions so much, because here's the thing: we are on this planet. There are signs from spirit, and then there are scenes of this life. If you think about a scene from a movie, like if you're just driving along the street and you just happen to see 3 crows sitting up on the wire, and you're still driving along, you just witnessed a scene in life, a scene in your own movie, right? Right. But those signs are the ones that really touch you and affect you on the inside. That's how you know the difference.
It's going to be asking about it, like you said. And crows and ravens, they're very not only magical, but they're very masterful in what they do. They've been around for eons, right? But they have that beautiful wisdom about them, and that beautiful knowing about them, and that sensing. So thank you for asking the question. And all animals are amazing. There's no negative animal out there. They all have something to teach us. But really sit with that energy and develop that relationship about what you can learn from those crows and ravens.
Yeah. They're so smart, and they're so smart.
Well, guys, let's just take a moment and pause for the readings for a moment, Jeffrey, because I really want to hear what you're up to next and where are you next? Tell us about your podcast for people who are just learning about you or forgot you even had a podcast, which is amazing. It came on earlier today. So if you'd share that in your website with us, please.
So my website is jeffreypeck.com.
Thanks.
And I have a podcast that started out as an audio podcast out on all the audio platforms called Something Super Spiritual. And then I brought it to YouTube where I wanted to share it with everybody in this format. And then, and Cheryl's been on the show with me how many times? I mean, I think I've lost count by now. But it's really fun because it's really just about getting together and having these conversations, having this really safe space to have all of these conversations. I do live streams usually on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays of the week in the afternoon at 4 or 5 p.m. Pacific, just depending on everybody else's schedule. That's one of my favorite things to do, to connect with you guys like this and touch in with all of you that have questions and collaboration with you, Cheryl and Kelly and all the others that I collaborate with is just seriously my favorite thing to do, because I say it all the time. We are so much better together. And when we get together like this, that space, we hold that space a little bit bigger, that energy is a little bit wider, it's a little bit more intense. And it's why I do my events in Sedona. We do these spiritual retreats. The next one is in June 12th to the 15th. There are still some spaces available. You guys, it's truly amazing. This is about coming back to yourself, reconnection with your soul. It's called Awakened, Immersed, Inspired. And that's truly what it is. It's about awakening or reawakening. It's for beginners. It's for people who have been on this path for decades, because ultimately we are never done developing and evolving. So we all get together. And when we do get together with those same intentions, the energy just raises and it's palpable, and everybody starts to have these truly mystical experiences together, and all of these synchronicities felt together in the group is truly one of those, like, it's awe-inspiring is what it is.
It's incredible.
It's fantastic. Yeah. So there's still space available. Go to my website if you're interested. All the information you can, questions answered, you can get there. Yeah, or email me. I'm available there too.
Fantastic. It's wonderful. So for everyone now, please join Jeffrey at his website, jeffreypeck.com, and his podcast, Something Super Spiritual. And thank you again. If I just may take a moment and share my events coming up, guys, I always have talking about coming together, Jeffrey, and it always getting better when we get together. I have my Sunday Healing Prayer Circle that I've held for many years. It's free to join. It's every Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Pacific time for, just a little while to check in with a prayer, a meditation, talk about the events for the week and the energy, and really, once again, how to self-care. So please join me there on my Sunday night Healing Prayer Circle. I also have my energy transformation sessions, which happens every month, where we do talk about how to stay spiritually fit and mentally, how to release or how to build your energy, even how to manifest and release any energy blocks. So join that energy transformation sessions. That's a monthly membership, by the way. And then I think it's just coming up like April 29th is my next Circle of Love small group reading. I think I have one ticket left where everyone gets a reading. It's an online event. It's a very small group. So it's very nice, very intimate, where we do mediumship readings and answer psychic questions. I hold those Circle of Love events every month. So it's sold out on April 29th. I do have one happening in May and of course June. You can check that out on my website at mediumcheryl.com. And then lastly, for this month of April, I have a wonderful online mediumship demonstration event with the lovely Suzanne Northrup. And that's amazing because it is buy a ticket and bring a friend for free. So that's kind of a special thing that Suzanne and I love to offer here and there. So please take advantage of it. It's both Suzanne and I delivering mediumship messages, as many as we can during that time. So please join us there. If you haven't met Suzanne Northrup, she's a kick. And boy, what a great established medium in her own right. So please check that out on her website at SuzanneNorthrup.com. So thank you, everyone. And once again, my website is mediumcheryl.com. And once again, subscribe to my newsletter. The same with Jeffrey. He has that beautiful YouTube, something super spiritual, amazing guests. I watched it earlier today. Loved your show, Jeffrey. Can't wait for next week's show. So
Thank you.
you doing a lot of good work, Jeffrey. I just want to thank you. You're so busy, and thank you so much for being on our show tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. And look, if you could read, I just say one thing for us for this week. Like, I mean, is there a card you could pull for us before we leave tonight? Or is there something that maybe a word or something that's been crossing your mind that, you could share with us on kind of how to just, practice self-care?
The word that just came into my head is life force energy.
Ooh, life force energy.
Life force, the words that just came into my head, life force energy. Interestingly, Reiki is two Japanese words. Rei is universal life force. Ki is energy. So here's the thing. We are all connected to this life force. Every single one of us, whether we've been attuned to any modalities or not. We wouldn't be sitting here with breathing and watching this show if we weren't connected to the life force energy. And a lot of times when we get to that place where we're, life ebbs and flows, it's just normal. And for a lot of people right now, there are some pretty big ebbs. People may have just lost a love of their life. And in the throes of grief, and grief, I'm convinced, is that one of the worst human experiences that we signed up for here on this planet. But outside of that, health issues, financial issues, mental health issues. I mean, that's huge in itself. Life force energy.
Yeah.
We can connect ourselves to that life force energy consciously by just getting our place into that. We talked about balance and alignment. We talked about a quick little meditative 3 breaths to get ourselves into center. That's where we're connected to the life force energy. It's all happening in here, guys. It's all in here.
Thank you, Jeffrey. And as you said, we want to remind all of our audience members, let's all take this word life force energy and let's work with it. Let's think about it. Let's kind of mull it around and see what it's going to bring us. And maybe it's going to give us insight and energy and more love in our life. And maybe it's going to rejuvenate us. That's what we really are looking for. Once again, is more energy to take care of ourselves. So look, thank you, everyone. I know you're feeling the love tonight that we're sending you. Thank you again for joining us tonight on Seeing Beyond, Living Transformed. We'll see you back here next week, same time. Namaste. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Good night.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Seeing Beyond, Living Transformed. We hope today's insights have inspired you on your path to a more fulfilling and enlightened life. Remember, transformation isn't just a destination, it's a journey we take each day. We invite you to continue exploring with us as we unravel more lessons and stories that empower growth and change. Mark your calendars for next week's episode, airing Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We've got more exciting topics and inspiring guests lined up that you won't want to miss. If you found value in today's episode, we'd love for you to like and share this video to help spread the message of transformation and inspiration. Stay curious, stay inspired, and until next time, keep seeing beyond. Thanks for watching.